The unsung hero of muscle health after 60. Why calcium matters more than you think. Introduction. A new perspective on muscle preservation. Let's start with a surprising truth. Despite the hype surrounding protein powders, supplements, and high-protein diets, one mineral might be even more critical for rebuilding and maintaining muscle after age 60. It's not magnesium, not potassium, but calcium, and not just for bones. While calcium is traditionally associated with bone density, emerging research from institutions like the National Institutes of Health (NIH) and Tufts University reveals its pivotal role in muscle contraction, recovery, and preventing sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass and function. Most older adults fall short on calcium intake daily, with significant implications. A 2018 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that those consuming adequate calcium from diverse sources, dairy and plant-based foods like leafy greens and fortified tofu, showed better muscle strength and mobility over time. This wasn't about bodybuilding. It was about real-world functionality. Walking speed, balance, and rising from a chair without support. These are the markers of independence that define quality of life as we age. Why isn't calcium's role in muscle health more widely discussed? Narrative inertia plays a part. We've been conditioned to view calcium as a bone nutrient and protein as the muscle nutrient, oversimplifying the complex interplay of human physiology. Nutrients don't work in silos, they function as a symphony, and calcium is a key player in the orchestra of muscle health. After age 60, muscle loss accelerates at 1 to 2% per year, with strength declining even faster. This isn't just a statistic. It's the difference between carrying groceries or needing assistance, climbing stairs or avoiding them, living independently or relying on care. In this comprehensive guide, we'll explore 6 science-backed insights that challenge the protein-centric view of muscle health and aging. How calcium influences muscle contraction and recovery, especially after 60. The critical link between vitamin D, calcium absorption, and muscle function. Why food sources of calcium often outperform supplements. The gut microbiome's role in calcium uptake and sarcopenia prevention. How magnesium and movement amplify calcium's effects. Why protein context, quality, timing, and dietary patterns matters more than quantity. This isn't just about minerals. It's about aging with strength, dignity, and purpose. Whether you're 60 and active or 80 and aiming to stay mobile, these strategies can help you thrive. Let's dive in. Section 1. Calcium's role in muscle health. When you hear calcium, you likely think of bones, osteoporosis, or a glass of milk. But calcium is far more than a bone mineral. It's a critical driver of muscle function. Every time you move, whether lifting a bag of groceries or standing up, calcium ions flood into muscle cells, triggering a cascade that enables muscle fibers to contract. Without calcium, muscles can't function. This is basic physiology, but its importance grows with age. A 2017 study in the Journal of Gerontology followed older adults over 5 years and found that those with higher dietary calcium intake had better walking speed, grip strength, and lower limb function. These participants weren't taking megadoses of supplements. They were eating whole foods rich in calcium, such as dairy, leafy greens, and fortified plant-based products. The results suggest that consistent, adequate calcium intake makes a measurable difference in functional outcomes. Why does calcium matter more as we age? Aging muscles become less responsive to calcium signaling, a phenomenon tied to anabolic resistance. This means the same amount of calcium that supported strong contractions in your 40s may not suffice in your 60s or 70s, much like a speaker that needs more volume to produce the same sound. This reduced sensitivity contributes to sarcopenia, which increases the risk of falls, a leading cause of injury-related death after age 65. Weak muscles are a primary predictor of that first fall, which can triple the risk of needing long-term care. Calcium's role extends beyond contraction to recovery. It supports muscle repair by facilitating protein synthesis and reducing inflammation, both critical for combating sarcopenia. A 2019 meta-analysis in Aging Research Reviews found that higher calcium intake was associated with lower rates of muscle loss in older adults, particularly when paired with resistance training. The recommended dietary allowance, RDA, for calcium is 1,200 milligrams per day for adults over 50, yet many fall short, especially those avoiding dairy due to lactose intolerance, ethical concerns, or taste preferences. The average intake for older adults in the U.S. is closer to 700 to 900 mg/day, according to the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, NANS. This gap underscores the need to rethink calcium sources and dietary patterns. Action step: check your calcium intake for one day using a food tracker like Cronometer. Aim for 1,200 milligrams from whole foods like leafy greens, tofu, or fortified plant milks. Reflect: what's one calcium-rich food I enjoy that I could incorporate more often? Ethical note: calcium-rich plant foods like kale, bok choy, and almonds have a lower environmental footprint than dairy, aligning personal health with sustainability. Choosing these options supports both your muscles and the planet. Section 2. Vitamin D, the gatekeeper of calcium. Calcium's effectiveness hinges on a critical partner. Vitamin D, the gatekeeper of calcium absorption. Without adequate vitamin D, your body absorbs only 10 to 15% of dietary calcium. With sufficient levels, absorption jumps to 30 to 40%. This is vital for muscle health, as calcium must reach muscle cells to support contraction and repair. Vitamin D deficiency is common in older adults due to reduced skin synthesis. Aging skin is less efficient at converting sunlight into vitamin D. Less sun exposure. Many older adults spend less time outdoors, especially in winter or urban settings. Dietary limitations. Vitamin D is scarce in foods unless fortified, e.g., plant milks, fatty fish. A 2020 NANS analysis found that 35% of U.S. adults over 65 had insufficient vitamin D levels, less than 20 nanograms per milliliter. The VITAL study, a randomized controlled trial with over 25,000 participants, showed that vitamin D supplementation in those with low baseline levels improved muscle strength and reduced fall risk. Falls are critical. They're the leading cause of injury-related death in older adults, and strong muscles are a key defense. Vitamin D also has anti-inflammatory properties, reducing chronic low-grade inflammation, inflammaging, that impairs muscle regeneration. A 2018 study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that higher vitamin D levels were associated with better muscle recovery post-exercise in older adults. Practical steps: test your levels. A 25-hydroxyvitamin D blood test is the gold standard. Aim for 30 to 50 nanograms per milliliter, as recommended by geriatric experts. Sunlight. Get 15 to 20 minutes of midday sun exposure, arms and face, several times a week, if safe for your skin type and location. Food sources include fatty fish, salmon, sardines, UV-exposed mushrooms, fortified plant milks, or eggs from pasture-raised hens. Supplements. Consider 1,000 to 2,000 IU of vitamin D3 daily, especially in winter or with limited sun exposure. Consult your doctor, particularly if you have kidney issues. Action step: this week, add one vitamin D-rich food, e.g., fortified almond milk, to a meal or discuss a blood test with your doctor. Reflect: how might optimizing my vitamin D levels improve my energy or balance? Section 3. Food versus supplements. Why whole foods win when you think of calcium? Dairy often comes to mind, thanks to decades of "Got Milk" campaigns. Dairy is a convenient calcium source, with milk, yogurt, and cheese offering 30 to 35% bioavailability, e.g., 300 milligrams of calcium in a glass of milk yields 100 mg absorbed. However, dairy isn't the only, or necessarily the best, option for everyone. The food matrix concept highlights that nutrients are absorbed within the context of a food structure, co-nutrients, and gut interactions. Plant-based calcium sources often outperform dairy in bioavailability. Kale and bok choy, 50% absorption. Calcium set tofu, 30 to 40%. Fortified plant milks, comparable to dairy, with added nutrients like vitamin D, almonds and sesame seeds. Modest calcium but rich in magnesium and fiber. The EPIC Oxford study, tracking over 65,000 people, found that total calcium intake, not the source, predicted better bone and muscle health. Whether from dairy or plants, hitting 1,200 milligrams per day through whole foods was key. Non-dairy sources are critical for the 65% of the global population with lactose intolerance, as well as those avoiding dairy for ethical, environmental, or personal reasons. Whole foods also provide co-nutrients like fiber, magnesium, potassium, and phytonutrients, which support heart health, insulin sensitivity, and gut function. Supplements, while useful for some, often lack these synergistic benefits. A 2019 meta-analysis in Annals of Internal Medicine found that calcium supplements increased the risk of kidney stones and cardiovascular issues in some populations, whereas food-based calcium did not. Sample calcium-rich meals, non-dairy breakfast, smoothie with fortified almond milk, kale, chia seeds, and almond butter, 400 mg calcium. Lunch, chickpea salad with tahini dressing, arugula and sesame seeds, 350 mg calcium. Dinner, stir-fry with calcium-set tofu, bok choy, and broccoli, 450 mg calcium. Snack, white beans with sautéed spinach and lemon, 200 mg calcium. Ethical note, plant-based calcium sources have a lower carbon and water footprint than dairy. A 2021 study in Environmental Science and Technology estimated that producing 1 kilogram of dairy-based calcium generates 5 to 10 times more emissions than plant-based alternatives. Action step: plan one calcium-rich, non-dairy meal this week, like a tofu stir-fry or chickpea salad. Reflect: how can I make calcium-rich foods a regular part of my routine? Section 4. The gut muscle axis. The gut microbiome, home to trillions of microbes, is a rising star in nutrition science, influencing digestion, immunity, mood, and, surprisingly, muscle health. A healthy microbiome enhances calcium absorption, reduces inflammation, and supports muscle maintenance. A 2019 study in Frontiers in Physiology found that probiotic strains like Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium improved calcium uptake in animal models. When the microbiome was disrupted, calcium absorption dropped, impairing bone and muscle function. A 2020 trial at the University of Arkansas showed that postmenopausal women taking a multi-strain probiotic for 6 months improved calcium absorption without increasing intake, highlighting the gut's role in mineral metabolism. The microbiome also produces short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs, like butyrate, acetate, and propionate from fermentable fiber. These SCFAs reduce systemic inflammation, strengthen the gut lining, and may support muscle protein synthesis. A 2021 study in Nature Metabolism found that older adults with higher SCFA levels had better muscle strength and function, suggesting a gut-muscle axis. How to support your microbiome? Fiber-rich foods include soluble fiber, oats, beans, apples, insoluble fiber, whole grains, nuts, and prebiotics, garlic, onions, leeks. Fermented foods. Add yogurt, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, or tempeh for probiotics. Diversity. Aim for 20 to 30 unique plant foods per week, per the American Gut Project, to boost microbial diversity. Sample gut-friendly meal: tempeh stir-fry with garlic, onions, broccoli, and kimchi over quinoa, 300 mg calcium, high fiber, probiotics. Ethical note: a diverse, plant-rich diet supports gut health and aligns with sustainable food systems, reducing reliance on resource-intensive animal products. Action step: add 1 fermented food, e.g., miso, and 1 prebiotic food, e.g., garlic, to a meal this week. Reflect: how many plant foods did I eat today, and can I aim for more variety? Section 5. Magnesium and movement. Calcium's partners. Calcium doesn't work alone. It relies on magnesium and movement to maximize its effects. Magnesium, an antagonistic mineral to calcium, promotes muscle relaxation after contraction. Without sufficient magnesium, calcium can accumulate in arteries or joints, reducing its availability for muscles. A 2021 review in Nutrients found that higher magnesium intake was linked to better muscle performance and lower frailty in older adults. Magnesium also activates vitamin D, enhancing calcium absorption. Common sources include pumpkin seeds, 535 mg magnesium / 100 g, spinach / Swiss chard, 80 mg / 100 g cooked, black beans / lentils, 120 mg / cup, dark chocolate, 70% plus cacao 65 mg / ounce. Movement, particularly resistance training, is non-negotiable for muscle health. The SPRINT study, involving 1,500 older adults, showed that combining resistance training with adequate calcium and magnesium reduced muscle loss and falls. Simple exercises like bodyweight squats, resistance band rows, or light dumbbell presses, 2 to 3 sessions / week, 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. Stimulate muscle protein synthesis and enhance calcium's effects. Sample routine, Monday / Thursday, 30-minute session with squats, push-ups, band rows, and lunges. Meal pairing, post-workout smoothie with spinach, fortified almond milk, and pumpkin seeds 300 mg calcium, 150 mg magnesium. Action step, try 1 resistance exercise, e.g., 10 squats, and 1 magnesium-rich snack, e.g., pumpkin seeds, this week. Reflect, how does movement make my muscles feel stronger or more responsive? Section 6. Protein in context. Quality over quantity. Protein remains essential, providing amino acids for muscle repair, but its effectiveness depends on context. The amino acid leucine is critical, acting as a switch for muscle protein synthesis. Older adults need 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine per meal to overcome anabolic resistance, requiring 30 to 40 grams of high-quality protein per meal, per the ProdAG study group. Animal proteins, whey, eggs, poultry, are leucine-rich, but plant-based proteins can match them with proper planning. A 2020 meta-analysis in Advances in Nutrition confirmed that sufficient plant-based protein supports muscle maintenance as effectively as animal sources. Pairing complementary proteins, e.g., rice and beans, lentils and quinoa, ensures a complete amino acid profile. Protein timing. Older adults often skew protein toward dinner, but even distribution across meals maximizes MPS. The Framingham Offspring study found that plant-based protein sources were linked to better physical performance, likely due to their nutrient density, fiber, magnesium, calcium. Sample meal plan. Breakfast, tofu scramble with spinach and fortified soy milk, 30 g protein, 300 mg calcium. Lunch, lentil soup with kale and tahini, 30 g protein, 350 mg calcium. Dinner, tempeh stir-fry with bok choy and sesame seeds, 30 g protein, 400 mg calcium. Snack, chia seed pudding with fortified almond milk, 15 g protein, 200 mg calcium. Ethical note, plant-based proteins reduce environmental impact, requiring less land and water than animal sources, per a 2022 study in Nature Sustainability. Action step, plan 1 protein-rich, plant-based meal with calcium and magnesium, e.g., lentil quinoa bowl. Reflect, are my meals nourishing my muscles and my values? Conclusion. A week-long challenge for lifelong strength. Muscle health after 60 is about more than protein. It's a symphony of calcium, vitamin D, magnesium, movement, gut health, and dietary patterns. These 6 insights reveal a holistic approach. Calcium drives muscle contraction and recovery. Vitamin D unlocks calcium's potential. Whole foods outperform supplements. The gut microbiome enhances calcium uptake. Magnesium and movement amplify calcium's effects. Protein quality and timing trump quantity. This isn't about perfection. It's about resilience. Muscle loss isn't inevitable. It's modifiable through intentional choices. Challenge. This week, plan one meal rich in calcium, magnesium, and plant-based protein, e.g., tofu stir-fry with bok choy and sesame seeds. Pair it with a 10-minute resistance workout, e.g., squats, push-ups twice weekly. Track how you feel, physically, emotionally, and energetically. By nourishing your muscles with whole foods, movement, and purpose, you're investing in a vibrant future. Join a community committed to aging well. Share your progress, ask questions, and let's stay strong together.